I'm going to see if it exists. So I'm going to say 0 or false. And I'm going to say while row equals MySQL query, or fetch array of the query, which is the result. I'm going to say that exists equals true, or 1, whichever you want to choose. And then I'm going to break. And that means that if that means it just gets out of the while loop. And so next I am going to set, if it exists, that the session is in is equal to true, or 1. So I'm going to go ahead and then you can set the session is in to true or 1. So, and not double equals because that means to test. So now our session is in should happen, and I'm also going to say that our session of the username, and so I'm going to say the user ID equals -1 because -1 will never happen. I'm going to say the user ID equals the row of the 0, which should be referring to ID in the table because it's the first item, and in data, the 0 is the first existing item. So I'm going to say the user ID equals and the user ID. So I'm preserving this information into the session. So I'm converting the user ID to an integer just for future reference. And now the information should allow me to log in. That I'm going to put in a section where it says where they got the information wrong. You got something wrong is what I'm going to say. Try again. And then I'm going to put in a new line and save it. Refresh, send again. Looks like I need to try again. Okay, there we go. So pickles, and I'm going to try, and it says, yep, you got something wrong. I'm going to say pickles and then chop suey. I'm just going to copy it in. And it says I got something wrong. So what I actually need to do here is put in, we need to select the database. Because we did not do it earlier, we have to do it now. And so we need to say MySQL select DB, and the database is users, because, well, I mean tutorials login, users at the table. So I'm going to copy that text and I'm going to paste it in here, and that's as simple as it gets. So I refresh again. Now I'm logged in. So now you can see that I have the information there, so that we are logged in. So I can try logging out now. And my logout, I've already had a session destroy, so I'm going to say that I'm going to force it to change the location of the page to the index, which should go back to the login prompt. And now I'm going to save. Also, I'm going to check something in the members only page, because it should be members only. So I'm going to say hey there, and I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to get the information of the username. So, and since I preserved that user ID, I can go ahead and get that information there. So I'm going to say select star from users where ID equals, and then I'm going to add in my user ID from the session. So user ID, and since it's a number, it does not need quotes around it, and I've already converted it to an integer, so it should be safe to use, since the user does not have direct access to the session variables. Now I'm going to query the SQL, and I'm going to just type in the variable there. So now I'm going to say while row equals MySQL fetch array. Then I will be able to go ahead and get the information from about the user from this. So I'm going to say I'm going to preserve the user information. I'm going to say info equals null, just to exist anyway. I'm going to say info equals row. And then I'm going to go ahead and say echo the info, the username. So I'm going to say info and then bracket and then username, because that's what I called the field in the table. And now I'm going to say, hey there pickles, because that's what the username is right now. And then I'm going to continue my echo statement, which would say, would you like to go back to the main index? So I'm going to say href equals and then index.php and then end the link and then go to the end of the text and then end the link there. So now I'm going to go there, and it seems that I've gotten something wrong. Let's see here. And it looks like I got the logout problem going on. So I'm going to, apparently I need to start this session before I destroy it, because I need to set which session I'm referring to, because you can have multiple sessions in the server. So now I have this username and password table, login prompt again. So I'm going to say pickles and then chop suey, and I log in. So I'm officially in. I can go to members only area, and let's see here. Oh, I see. I forgot a little bit of the PHP to do because it was not complete. So I had to put it in and end the if, and then also then end the and then have an else where I say location is forced to the index, which is the login prompt to the user when they're not authorized. So I'm going to refresh there, and yes, it is correct. So if I go back and I log out, and then try forcing the URL back to the members page, it will force it back to the index because of this kicking back through the location in the header. So I could try logging in again with the wrong username but the correct password, and as you'll see, it will not work. And that SQL statement right there is just because I was debugging a little bit earlier because I got something wrong. So I got something wrong, and if I try putting in something else that is not correct or in the database, it will not let me in. So that's how simple it really is. If you have any questions, comments, or requests, feel free to message me through YouTube or through my contact form on my PHP tutorials site. The PHP will be provided on my site if you wish to examine it, and feel free to subscribe. Thank you. This is Clopop321 signing off.